Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing a recent video by Jon Venus, and I thought Jon Venus was done on YouTube, but he made a video a day ago. And if y'all don't know who Jon Venus is, he was really big in the vegan bodybuilding scene, and then he came out as ex-vegan, and he started living with his animal-abusing in-laws, and they took him hunting, and they convinced him to eat animal carcass and secretions. And in this video, he tries to say that the science of a plant-based diet and the science of a carnivore diet is exactly the same. He is trying to, doubt the different science, and which is absolutely ridiculous. I think he needs to stay in his lane of bodybuilding and just stop talking about things he knows nothing about. And I have done a lot of research with my public health master's degree. I've done it in my practicum and also with all the papers that I had to write. And just this is something I've noticed with his videos. When he makes his videos, it kind of sounds like he's really nervous, like he has a gun to his head. Does anyone else think that? Let me know in the comment section below if that's a thing that you've noticed. And let's get on with this video.
How can carnivore diets be the best for humans while vegan diets are also the best for humans? How does that work?
There have been no health studies on the carnivore diet, so him saying that, the carnivore diet's healthy is just a bunch of people's anecdotes. But we do have studies about a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet. We have the Adventist Health Study 1 and 2, and we have the Broad study where people ate at liberty what they wanted and they lost weight. And we have other studies about plant-based diets that they have greater health outcomes, but we don't have anything about the benefits of a carnivore diet. We just have anecdotes. That's it.
The carnivore people who are promoting a carnivore diet obviously have all the scientific evidence in the world to support their claims that the carnivore diet is the best, while at the same time, the vegan movement and the plant-based people have their scientific research pointing to the exact same fact that their diet is the best. Or is it the fact that humans are a little bit too easily trusting of different belief systems and adopt different identities for themselves and then confirm their own biases to suit their own belief systems?
Okay, there has never been a carnivore diet study. There's just been a bunch of anecdotes. And of course, you're going to get quote unquote healthy because the carnivore diet, or the carcass diet that I like to call it, is just an elimination diet. If you're getting rid of most foods, I mean, more than likely you're going to get rid of something maybe that was causing some issues. It's an eating disorder in my opinion, and but we do have studies about a whole food plant-based diet. And then he talks about the vegan diet, the vegan diet, the vegan diet. Um, there's many vegan diets, and veganism isn't just a diet. It is a lifestyle that you believe it's wrong to pay for rape, torture, and murder. And I mean, there's so many like crappy vegan diets. Like for example, I don't do it all the time, but I found out that these brownie squares existed. Like these vegan brownie squares. Like I'm not in any delusion that that's healthy. As a vegan, yeah, there's no carcass or secretion in it, but it's not healthy. They just taste so freaking good. So you're saying the vegan diet? Um, there's a lot of properly there's properly planned vegan diets. There's fruitarian that's technically vegan, but that's crazy. And but there has been no study about the carnivore diet.
So what does the science actually say? So I used to be someone who just outsourced my scientific research to people who are quote unquote qualified to do the research, to read the research, to study, to understand papers. And that's the lazy way that most of us do it. And it's not strange because everyone will tell you that unless you're qualified, you shouldn't be reading these papers because you are not qualified to even start to understand it. While the reality is that most people, if they put a little bit of effort and time and focus, they will be able to understand these studies very well.
Okay, most people do it that way because most people do not have millions of dollars to pay scientists. That's why they look at the free scientific stuff on PubMed and Google Scholar and things like that. And I just think he just thinks that people don't know what they're doing, just like he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know if he really got into the science. I think he just got into bodybuilding. He has good genetics, and he went vegan, quote unquote. He pretended to be, an ethical vegan because it was, big in YouTube. And he's not a science-based channel. He's not like Mike the Vegan or Vegan Gains. He just had good genetics, and he just happened to be, a fake vegan, and now he went back to animal abuse. And then he goes on about how, it's, the scientists are wrong, which science changes all the time. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
So we have to remember that we are human beings. We are very easily manipulated by our own thoughts, our own belief systems, other people's belief system, the government's belief system, political belief systems, tradition. All these things come into play in brainwashing us, not in a nefarious way all the time. It's just what humans do. We rub off each other and we share ideas and adopt other people's ideas, and we don't really take the time to analyze things from many different perspectives because it's kind of a pain in the ass, right? So this is very, very important to remember, that we are humans, and so are scientists. The top scientists in the world, Nobel Prize winners, doesn't matter what kind of CV they have, they're all human beings at the end of the day, and they're taught to think in a certain way and to conclude different outcomes a certain way based on their training and belief systems. And science as a whole, and the way that the scientific world, the doctors of this world, and the industry of medical industry operates, is based on a very strong belief system as well. So it's not based on science, it is based on a belief system that science can point towards reality, and that we can find answers through doing experiments. And once we get certain experiments to align with the outcomes that we believe were going to happen, then that becomes adopted as a truth or a certainty. So not every doctor, not every nutritionist, not every scientific researcher believes that just because a study or a vast majority of studies point towards a certain outcome, that we are certain that this is the truth. A lot of scientists, although not many I've talked to, do come to the conclusion that we have to keep experimenting, keep narrowing down, and focusing on finding out what kind of methodologies we had to find and use to make sure that the conclusion we're coming to is actually correct. And we had to keep challenging these outcomes and conclusions to make sure that it's correct, and not just use the same methodology over and over again, get the same results, and therefore, because we have a vast number of studies pointing towards the same outcome, then it has to be true, when in reality it's because we are using the same methodology, the same perspective, the same belief system, and getting to the same conclusion.
Okay, so he's telling people not to trust doctors, which is really dangerous. I have a lot of respect and admiration for doctors, and when I was born, I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I was born premature, and I was one of the test patients when they were figuring out the drug, or the, I think it's a drug or something, surfactant, which helps premature babies' lungs develop. And that went through scientific testing probably before even I was patient number 2. And if they hadn't figured that out or even thought of that, I could have died, or I would have had a bunch of lung problems. So luckily my lungs are great and functioning, and it's all due to doctors. But he is telling people to not trust doctors and scientists, which is really, really dangerous. And this is someone with no scientific background. I wouldn't be surprised if he deletes this video, to be honest.
And so that is how we get so many different weird things promoted to us that are actually unhealthy and cause a lot of damage, like a lot of medicines, diets, and all kinds of different things.
Okay, I think that has to do more with social media than it does the science, because look at, the carnivore diet. People just see weight loss and think that it's healthy because they are losing weight, because it is an elimination diet. And then you have people, celebrities, they got on Ozempic and they found out they were losing weight, so everyone now is getting Ozempic to lose weight. And that's not healthy. If you don't have diabetes, you should not be taking medicines that you really don't need. I mean, this is a social media problem and not a science problem. I mean, if scientists create a drug like Ozempic to help with diabetes and someone is using it to lose weight that doesn't have diabetes, that's not the scientist's fault. That's the social media influence and the person that wants a quick fix because they don't want to work for anything.
People have gone on the carnivore diet, they swear by it. People have gone on the plant-based diet and they swear by it. They've been decades eating a vegan diet. They're thriving, they're healthy, no complaints. Same with the carnivores. People have been on it for a long time, no complaints. And this is a very, very difficult subject to convey because of what I said about health being a very, very complicated, multifaceted topic, because it's not just the food that we're eating, it's our emotional health, our state, our energetic state, our environment, how much stress we have in our day-to-day life, the toxins we're exposed to, the radiation, the pollution, etc. So many different things. And if you do feel good on a certain diet, that's great. But it's easy for us to jump into the conclusion of this specific eating pattern being the best because we feel amazing. And that is not the case. It's not only because of the nutrition, it's because of removing different things. It's because of the boost in motivation and purpose we might get by jumping on a diet and changing our identity from someone who's lazy, not really into healthy foods, to becoming a person of purpose, having health and vitality as a top priority in their life. You kind of change your whole identity, and that comes with a good amount of motivation and purpose in life, which in itself is a huge energy booster and makes you feel amazing. So there's so many different things that play a role in health and in the way that you feel while eating a certain thing. And it's good to experiment. It's good to try a carnivore diet. It's good to try a vegan diet, although I don't personally see the need for it unless you choose to have a certain belief system and you choose to believe in a certain thing and follow through no matter what the consequences are. Then that's fine. You can stick to that diet until the end of your life if you want to. But it's for people who are more open to just exploring different things and testing different things. It's good to just be aware that no matter if you feel good on a certain diet or not, it doesn't necessarily mean that this diet is going to be the perfect diet for you for the rest of your life. You might need to change things because nutrition deficiencies, health outcomes, certain things that go wrong can take a very long time to show and express physically in our bodies. Deficiencies sometimes takes years, sometimes even decades to show signs of. And so just because it doesn't feel like you're missing something in the short term doesn't mean that you actually aren't missing something. And that is a very, very important thing. And so diet is very complex. A lot of people will say it's simple, and the people who say it is simple are the people who have an ideology and have decided that what they believe in is correct, and that is why it's so simple for them. It's because they believe that what they're doing is correct. They believe that the scientific studies that they are reading are the right ones, with the best methodologies, with the best methods, and with the best results. And so because of that belief, they will say it's simple, it's the truth, and there is no debating it. And that is because we're humans. Certain people and doctors and scientists say that one specific thing is good, while the other group of scientists says the exact opposite, both having evidence and science to support it, both claiming that their science is superior to the other side, etc. It is because we are human beings with belief systems, with identities and biases, and that's just how it's always been, and perhaps how it's always going to be. And so if we want to avoid falling into these traps and getting stuck in some sort of dietary religion or belief system, then tread carefully, because a lot of us, myself included, fall into a very, very deep rabbit hole of bias and scientific consensus that isn't really a consensus and is not really reflective of the true amazing reality that we live in, that is way too complicated and way too multifaceted and endlessly interesting for us with our primitive brains and our primitive way of doing, industry funded science to comprehend. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to understand these things and experiment and be open to everything and keep doing studies and try to find the truth of it. But it means that we should be a little bit careful not to come to conclusions too quickly and become a little bit arrogant in our beliefs, because we may just be extremely wrong about what we believe is correct today.
Okay, all this stuff he's saying, he is describing himself a few years ago when he went back to eating, animal carcass and secretions. He was easily influenced by his animal abusing family to do such a thing. And as a vegan, an ethical vegan of 6 years, I am still learning things. I don't think I know everything, but he is describing himself, and this is not a science problem. He doesn't even talk about the science of the carnivore diet or the science of a plant-based diet. He is talking about people being stupid and jumping on one trend to another. And if it works for you, then it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't. Then it doesn't work for you. These are just people wanting a quick fix, and they don't want to work for anything. They want a quick fix. They want to lose weight fast. I just watched a Vegan Gains video, old Vegan Gains video, where he talks about Joe Rogan was doing the carnivore diet, and Joe Rogan lost, he said he lost like 7 pounds in 10 days or something like that, something crazy, and he had diarrhea from the carnivore diet. I mean, it is just ridiculous. That has nothing to do with science. It's just people doing stupid things. John, you didn't go over the science. You just talked about how scientists aren't perfect, because they're also human beings, and we shouldn't trust them. And then you blame people's stupidity on the scientists, which is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not. I'm still learning stuff. I'm still figuring out life. But this is just ridiculous. And that is all I want to say about this John Venus video. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this down. I just think it was clickbait, because he doesn't really go into the science of the carnivore diet or the vegan diet. So I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this video down. So I will see you all in the next video. I don't know what it's going to be, because this was kind of a spur-of-the-moment video, because I saw this yesterday. I don't know what I looked up or what I was on, because I'm not subscribed to John Venus, because he's an animal abuser. But I don't know how. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a day ago. Okay, so it was right for the picking. Okay, so I don't know what the next video will be. Maybe something about where it's just me not reacting to anything, but just talking about certain things. I'm thinking of starting a new series called Plant Rant, where I just sit in front of this computer camera and just talk about things. I'm not sure. So let me know if you want to see that, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.